Today we are going to discuss the third part of comparing 6 theories. We have already discussed different perspectives of these theories with regard to language learning, language transfer, role of memory, and the factors that influence the language learning. Today we are going to discuss the types of learning best explained by all these theories. Learning, we all know, is an act of acquiring as well as modifying knowledge. So acquiring new knowledge and bringing about certain modification or changes in our existing knowledge. It is, however, seen as a process whereby new knowledge is built on our previous knowledge, and there is something that the existing knowledge as well as building upon that knowledge, you come across new information, you go through a process of assimilation as well as accommodation. Therefore, declarative knowledge as well as procedural knowledge have a very crucial role in the understanding of the types of learning that are propagated or proposed by different theories. Declarative knowledge, as we know, that the existing knowledge, and procedural knowledge is the performance of that knowledge, and whereby you develop your database of new knowledge. Now let's see how these different theories differ with regard to the types of learning best explained by these theories. You have the behaviorist perspective, where learning is considered as something which happens through association, classical conditioning, through consequences, which is called operant conditioning, and through observation or modeling or observational theories. Now, when we look at the classical conditioning, you know that it is a natural or a phenomena which refers to a neutral stimulus, and when it is paired with stimulus that already evokes a reflexes, then eventually the new stimulus will by itself evoke a similar process. Time is very important over here. Usually the strongest and fastest conditioning occurs when conditioned stimulus is presented about half to 1 second before unconditioned stimulus. Then we have the operant. This is operant conditioning, which is the organism operates on its environment in some way. The behavior in which it engages are instrumental to achieving some outcome. Learning through observation or modeling is that you follow or you observe the stimulus, and based on that you develop a certain behavior. It can also be referred to the law of effect, which is if a response is followed by a pleasant or satisfying consequences, that response will be strengthened. Coming to generativists, they describe human language by means of generative grammar. So here the types of learning is based on generative grammar. Chomsky proposes deep structure and surface structure. Deep structure is a hidden structure based on the rules, and surface is the manifestation or the outer manifestation of those structures where you generate. The rules expressing the relation of deep and surface are called grammatical transformation. So the types of learning explained by generativists are based on the generative grammar and the transformational grammar. Cognitivists propose reasoning, clear objective problem solving, all the complex form of learning which include reasoning, problem solving, information process. So one sees that the mental process is involved in a higher level of solving problems and information processing. Constructivists believe that authentic activities, classroom discussions, cooperative learning, reciprocal teaching, where the teacher assumes a role of a learner and learner assumes a role of teacher, peer tutoring, all these are the types of learning best explained by this particular approach. Participation in these types of activities allows to distributed, this means that the cognition is distributed, more than one minds are involved in this process, where the learning task is spread across many minds and can draw on multiple knowledge bases and ideas. So language is distributed where the more minds are involved in the process of learning. Monitor model emphasizes the effective use of monitor. So this learning refers to the process of monitoring based on knowledge of rules, focus on correctness, and time span for monitoring. These are the key factors with regard to the types of learning concerned with monitor model. Sociocultural emphasize culture affecting cognitive development. The social factors are the key aspect of this particular theory, and they believe that social factors contribute to cognitive development, role of language in cognitive development, and adults are an important source of cognitive development. So in this sociocultural theory, social factors, role of language in the cognitive development, and adults are the important source of cognitive development, are the key factors for explaining this particular type of learning. Then there are some other types, which is formal learning, technology-based learning, monolingual, monocultural context learning, multilingual, multicultural context learning, practical and functional learning, as well as personalized learning. So in addition to the perspectives that we have discussed, these are some of the latest types of learning as well. Now, based on those perspectives, you see the learning domains have been spread over all these points that I am going to discuss with you. That learning is acquisition or getting information. It is retention of information or skills. Retention implies storage system, memory, cognition, organization. Learning involves active conscious focus on and acting upon events outside or inside the organism. Learning is relatively permanent but subject to forgetting. It also involves some form of practice, perhaps reinforced practice. And learning is a change in behavior. So when we look at all these domains, we see that broadly all the perspectives that have just been explained, they cover all these domains in terms of retention, memory, storage, events, practice, social factors, cognitive factors, as well as the behavioral aspect. So to conclude, types of learning best explained by behaviorism, generativism, cognitivism, constructivism, monitor model, and sociocultural theories represent the core concepts of each learning theory and broadly cover all the relevant domains of learning.